Well, good morning and welcome to Jesus Said. 755 Live is where we spend about 5 minutes talking about one of the commands or teachings or examples of Jesus, and we try to put that in a soundbite form just so it's easy to remember and obey. Today's soundbite is Wake Up, the harvest is ready, and that comes from John 4:35. And we'll be reading that. If this is meaningful to you, it would really help if you like this, if you share this on social media. It really just makes a huge difference. So I appreciate all the encouragement, and thank you for sharing that. So Jesus said, wake up, the harvest is ready. We're going to jump to verse 31 of John 4 before we read verse 35. Good morning, Tina. Thank you for checking in. Meanwhile, the disciples were urging him, they were urging Jesus, Rabbi, or teacher, master, eat something. But he said to them, I have food to eat that you know nothing about. So the disciples began to say to one another, no one brought him anything to eat, did they? Jesus said to them, my food is to do the will of the one who sent me and to complete his work. I just want to read that again. Jesus said to them after they said, hey, look, you've got a physical need. You need to eat something. And he said, my nourishment, my food, is to do the will of the one who sent me and to complete his work. So it's in that context that we get our Jesus said today in verse 35, where it says, don't you say there are 4 more months and then comes the harvest? I tell you, look up and see that the fields are already ripe for harvest. We're going to go on from there. I want to encourage you to go ahead and read through verse 38. And Jesus is talking about that God's work was for him to do what God was instructing him to do, which was to reap the harvest. Jesus said, wake up, the harvest is ready. Now this is the after the interaction with the Samaritan woman at the well, and the disciples had missed that whole point. They thought what Jesus' need was about physical food, but Jesus was trying to teach them that the really important part of life is obeying what God said. Wake up. The harvest is ready. This is what this is about. It's not about physical things. It's about doing what we are commanded to do. And here we are, 2,000 years later, and we have billions of people who have never even heard the name of Jesus. Over 3.27 billion people. But even closer to home, we have neighbors that we've never talked to. We have family members that don't really know that we're Jesus followers. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of social media connections. And what do they see? When will we wake up and realize that the harvest is ready? And our job is to not go out convincing people. Our job is to see what God is doing and to reap the harvest that he is preparing. But it's really easy to get distracted by physical things. And just like the disciples tried to get Jesus distracted. Hey, don't you need something to eat? That wasn't the time for Jesus to eat, even though there was nothing wrong with eating. Our obedience is so above just what is right or wrong. Our obedience is the attitude of wake up, look, the harvest is ready. And how can we spread more good news? In Matthew 25, it's very clear that we are going to be evaluated. We are going to be judged by what we did for the least of these. Wake up. The harvest is ready. Who in your circle of influence needs to hear the good news? Well, Jesus said that they would know that we are his disciples by our love one for another. That's one of the greatest ways that we can be involved in the harvest. And he said to let our light shine by doing good things so that people won't give us credit, but they will glorify our Father in heaven. Revelation 22:12, Jesus says, "Look, I am coming soon, bringing my reward with me to repay all people according to their deeds." We're not saved by our good works, but we are saved and given the grace to do the good works that God has designed and purposed for us. As a Jesus follower, we are disciple makers, and it's time that we wake up. The harvest is ready. That's what Jesus said. How can we put that into action today? Thank you so much for checking in, Eddie. Thank you, Armenta, I believe. Good morning. Glad that you're here. If this is meaningful to you, like it and share it on social media. And thank you for tuning in.